Hello everyone. Myself Dr. Sunil Kumar S. Honnungar, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dhavalgiri, Dharwad. Today I will be giving a virtual talk on weldments in RCC structures at Institute of Engineers India, Dharwad Local Center. Before starting this particular talk on this weldments in RCC structure, so I would like to give a preamble why I have selected and all about. There are two reasons. One is, if I am to be precise, last week Saturday, Dr. Chakrasali, R.L. Chakrasali sir, who also happens to be chairman IEI Local Center Dharwad, just texted me, Professor, can you take one assignment for as a for technical talk on Tuesday, that is routine practice in the Institute of Engineers Dharwad Local Center. So I don't have any other way rather than saying no. Reason prior to this assignment, earlier also he has couple of times he has requested, and somehow I could not able to do that because of my other personal commitments. That is one. And the second, probably to be precise, my area expertise domain is mechanical. However, I have chosen a subject which I also like till Monday. So assignment, as I mentioned, Saturday Professor Chakrasali has requested, and till Monday I was not clear what topic to be covered. There are basic two reasons. One is this has to be technical content and interest of all of. That was the reason. And as we are aware, civil engineering domain people are that engineers are more this thing at Dharwad local center. Their strength, I mean. So I thought of taking this. One more reason that second this thing preamble is why I have taken a few days back in Institute of Okay. Uh, After that first preamble, second one I will be just narrating. Second reason why I have chosen this particular topic. Actually, still Monday morning, I was not very firm what topic to be selected for this Tuesday technical talk. Few days back in our Dharwad IEI local group, that is WhatsApp group, I don't remember exactly who has put this particular information. Basically, he is from civil background, I believe. He has put one particular figure, photograph actually, that is welding of steel rods. Okay, so similar to here. In fact, it is not the same. I am just encircling. So similar to this one, it has been put up. That is two steel rods and welded together. So the posting was like, can we use such kind of welded joints of steel basically in columns? That was the question, and no answer was given. It was paused actually, the person who has posted that, and immediately few people started pouring their comments. A few people said yes, a few people said how can we use welding sort of joints in concrete RCC structures and all that. That was the this thing. So looking into that, that also blown my mind. Looking from the technical side, I also started digging that. Can we go for that basically? So of course, my domain, as I mentioned, is mechanical background. So I was also of the opinion that we can't use such kind of welded joints in the steel structural RCC, these things, okay, columns or beam. Basic reason why I thought in that view is when you do the welding, this basically gets heated up. Because of the heating, what happens, there will be crystallographic change. That means this whenever the heat is put on the imposed on that steel, it will become a brittle. So ultimately, after the joint is being formed, it will become brittle. So I just mention you in two contexts, I just came to this particular conclusion. Of course, my limited knowledge in civil arena, as I mentioned, One is a Titanic ship, as all of we are heard. Even though it was built of most strongest steel, the moment when it went and then collided to that ice actually, so basically it was a subcritical temperature. So microscopically, if you look into that steel, this thing, so there is going to be crystallographic structure and it will become brittle and it has broken like two pieces, as all of we are aware. Okay, so this is a one reason I thought may probably it cannot be used. After some time, the person who has posted, he gave all the references and again told no, we can use such kind of welded joints in concrete column structures and all that. And in fact, he has given reference also. I somehow deleted that. I could not able to trace it back. Anyway, I thought better this is going to be the fantastic topic and then brainstorming session for all of us over here in this Dharwad local center. So probably that may be one reason I have selected this topic. And when I went digging and in search of this particular material, what I have noticed is for some more, I think steel, how important it was. I started with that, and I noticed steel, why the steel is basically used and all that kind of material. So as we are aware, this columns, I'll restrict my talk to the columns only. So column basically, when the type of load coming on the column, it is going to be the compressive type of loading from the dead weight from the top or whatever it is. So this is going to be the compressive load. And when the tensile load comes, as all of you are aware, the concrete is weaker in taking tensile load. So in such cases, what they do, they use reinforced the steel this thing, okay, reinforced steel bars, where the steel bars are capable of taking some sort of bending load, and that structural will be stable. So that is the purpose of that. Almost everyone do agree and almost everyone knows that. Okay, I think I am making a color this thing. I am just trying my level best to narrate that. Okay, these are the some steel bars actually. And one more recently, when I went into, probably this may be my conclusion ultimately. And so in fact, the solution and again technical report yet to come. So last week itself, one bridge collapsed at Madhya Pradesh. In fact, it is a heavy flood. This thing. So ironically, this bridge collapsed before the inaugural. Before the inaugural, the main reason may be again, in my view, this thing. So it may be that improper utilization and then steel quality and then again concrete quality and then quantum of concrete as well as steel as well. Okay, that may be the reason. The only purpose of showing this is steel, it is going to be very predominant and then important. So basically I just stick on to my talk pertaining to this columns only, that is weldments, that steel bar weldments in RCC structures only. Okay, and I think uh, one more thing is, as we are aware, the steel bars are available in standard sizes, that they are 9 meter and then 12 meter. Okay, so in order to have the continuity, they make such kind of this lap joint and all, which I'll be telling in detail in the next slide. Uh, as I mentioned, I'll restrict my discussion to this particular columns only, steel columns only. So what they do, as the steel length is fixed in the market, whatever is available, it is a 9 meter or up to 12 meter steels are available. Length of the steel I'm talking about, bar, steel bar. But most of the time your column structures in multi-storied building, they are not up to 9 meters or 12 meters, they are beyond that. So in that time, whatever columns are to be constructed, what they do the lapping of steel inside the column. Lapping means, this is, suppose say this is one steel, I am scribbling, just observe on the right hand top side, and this is the one, this thing steel, and the second one is the bottom one. So what they do, suppose this is the total length required, so they will do the lapping. Lapping means side by side they keep the same diameter steel and then do the bar bending, that with the thin wire they do the something called as bar bending. Most of us are aware. So this is called a lapping. And ironically, when I did a little search on the internet, I noticed that there is a standard available in Indian purview only, that is IS 456. According to that, what they suggest, the length of lap means whatever this particular length of this joining is there, that should be minimum 50 times the diameter of the bar, or at least 200 millimeter length. Okay, this is prescribed because basically there are two reasons. One is connectivity of or continuity of the bar should be there. Second one, whatever load comes on this particular top bar, that has to be transferred successfully to the next continuation bar, so that load coming on the column will be automatically in line or coaxial, and again stability will be proper. Under that circumstance, it is mentioned the length of lap should be 50 times the diameter of that steel rod whatever is used, or minimum 200 millimeter. In addition to this, I noticed also there are some standards available for welding. Of course, welding, they have not, to be precise, mentioned lapping can also be done for welding and all. So nothing is mentioned, simply they have mentioned. In fact, I could not able to go through in depth of this particular standards, because I could not able to get to this thing within a short stipulated time. Whatever best I could able to assimilate the information. So there are some codes, 2751 code, that is practice for welding of mild steel plain and deformed bars for reinforced concrete construction. Similarly, IS 9417 recommended for welding cold working bars for reinforced concrete, and so forth. So these are there. In spite of that, I hardly see any sort of you can say a sort of optimizing the this particular length of the bar, or reducing the quantity of the steel and all. I hardly heard, to be frank, or I hardly found anybody talking in this relation, because again I am adhering this with the WhatsApp group discussion only. Okay. And one more thing, what I have noticed in the internet only, I think there are a couple of videos available. You can also see on the YouTube. This gentleman, what he is doing, of course, a welder actually. He has posted actually. In fact, somebody has posted this particular video. So what they have done, they have lapped only these two. Okay, instead of making this that wire binding, they are doing the welding. So probably here what they wanted to show is, one is to save the timing, and again transportation. Basically, how these beams are this thing made, physically they are made on the ground only, with that all keeping on the ground, maintaining that gap dimensions and all, and then they manually do that binding and take it to the particular site of that erection where that has to be mounted, and then do the pouring, and again further procedures of this column making. Okay, but what he is doing, he is making that holding that rods with some initial binding from the thin wires, and then doing the welding. And here most probably they have not even thought of optimizing. So again they are using the same length of this particular lap as per this code, I believe. Okay. And again, try to imagine, I have not shown the calculation for this particular lap. Generally, if you just take a 200 millimeter for 25 millimeter diameter standard rod, okay, so that construction rod, if you lap that, approximately the weight comes out, if you just multiply volume multiplied by density. So I will tell in the thumb rule, it will be somewhere around 3.5 to 4 kg for one lap. So if you just look into that simple, that 4 bar column, I think on the right hand side what I have shown, 4 bar column. So 4 into 4, I think nearly some 16 kg steel will be saved or utilized for one particular lap. So try to visualize what is the amount of wastage, or what is the amount of steel consumed unnecessarily. Okay, in that context I have took this as a topic for today's talk. Okay, and second, further browsing, I also noticed there are some sleeves. Actually, some people have may be aware, some sleeves are available with the internal threaded part, and the steel which is going to be connected continuous. These are two separate pieces, top and bottom. They are also threaded, and then that thread will be fixed into this particular sleeve having the thread, and the joint will become one joint. And again there will be a continuity load. Whatever coming on the top bar will be transferred successfully to the bottom. So this is one. Actually, after assembly you can just notice, I think in the right hand side, sorry, I think my video is, you can able to see, I think this may not be, this is again also available on the internet. So but I have hardly seen such kind of either welding activity or this sleeve fixing activity in the construction area where I have come across. Okay, so further again going further, so it was a burning as I mentioned. So I told Chakrasali sir, I will be taking up, and over a period just in a day or two, I think by Monday evening, if I'm to be precise, I just spoke this one of my junior alumnus from same construction area only, that is Pramod Jhalkikar, who also happens to be mechanical graduate basically, but he is very actively doing and the successful entrepreneur in construction field. He told Sunil, I have some material which may be of some help to you. Okay, we have discussed along, and then he has shared this. So it was, I was lucky, to be frank, thanks to Pramod Jhalkikar, who has shared. So this itself, this that material itself has become a full meal for me for this particular talk. So according to that literature, there is one institute in Japan, that is Japan Reinforcing Bar Joints Institute. I will tell in the nutshell what they do. Basically, this Japan has got very scarcity of resources, and again it is highly sensible for earthquakes, seismic loads and all. That is why generally what we heard earlier, they don't go for permanent structures, they go for steel structures which are of dismantling type, and then bamboo related structures. However, of late, because of lot of development in the technology and all, they are going for permanent structures in association with private agencies and then government agencies and all. So they have come up through this particular Japan Reinforcing Bar Joint Institute three type of joints for construction. One is pressure welded joints, which I am going to explain in the next slide, and the next one is welded joints, and then mechanical joints. Okay, so what it does, JRJI, Japanese Reinforcing Bar Joints Institute, they do lot of R&D, they recommend, they give the procedure, they also give how to do the inspection after this one implementing this particular type of joints, these three joints. How are you going to ensure that joint is correct or not, that they are going to do, which I am explaining in the slide. So what they are recommending, they are recommending, one is gas pressure welding, another one is welded joint, the next one is a mechanical joint. So in the gas pressure welding, what they do, it is actually not the lap joint, it is a butt joint. Butt means at the end of this particular surface of the one particular rod, okay, and then another rod surface, okay, this particular, so they have brought together, heated up, and then the pressure is applied, and that will become one unit like this. Okay, whatever the bulged part you can able to see, so that is the welded part with pressure gas welding. They have the particular procedure and procedure method and procedure steel also for the recommendation, and they have proved that. And again the testing how to do that, again in the next slide I am going to explain very quickly. And the next one is welded joint. So welding means, again it is a third element. Here there is no third element, that means only one element. Second element, they are heated up below the melting point and pressure is applied, so that this will become one unit. Okay, in the second type welded, so this is one bar, this is second bar, but the welding rod is used as a third element, which they will be using, and then putting it as a third element, which will again make one unit. This is a one entire unit. So this is one bar, second bar, this will become one unit. You can see a small sort of bubble like, so that is again the weld only. And the last one is coupling. Actually, again coupling is as I showed in previous, you have the sleeve type which is threaded, and then again one bar is coupled with the another bar, and again this will become one joint, and whatever load is coming on one bar will be transferred to the next, and it will become one continuous unit. Okay, so these are the three methods what Japanese institute has recommended. And again the inspection of that also they are recommending. So one is ultrasonic inspection, another one is ultrasonic measurement inspection, and again visual test. Visual test by looking. Ultrasonic measurement means it is a non-destructive testing. Actually what they do, they send some signals, and depending upon the frequency what they receive back, that will be calibrated. So much frequency sending, so much frequency coming back. If it is some ratio, again whether the joint is good or not, or any flaws, that is cracks are there or something, they will look into and then analyze upon. So this is what they have done in the Japanese context. Just forgive me, probably most of you may be in what you say, a sort of mood why I am referring Japanese. I am not aware, as I told, my domain is not civil, whether we have such a proficient agencies, either private or government agencies, which are recommending and giving a technical know-how and then giving the technical support for research arena. Only with that context I have chosen this particular Japanese technology, whatever is available on the internet or shared from one of my fellow friend. Okay, so next what I will quickly conclude with this particular talk because of time limitations. So whatever the technology available in Japanese context, if at all we want to, what you say, implement, what are the technical challenges, so that is what I am going to tell. And please note down, these are purely my views. Okay, I may be wrong, please correct me if it is not correct. You can boldly tell. In fact, we have the local chapter WhatsApp group, we can debate upon at any time. So in my view, there are the challenges are, one is a lack of customer demand and designers interest in saving steel. We are lucky, we don't have any scarcity either in manufacturing or in what you say, ore, that is raw material. So we never bothered about. Probably it is a high time for us, all of us technocrats, to look into and then do something, this one. Okay, because ultimately it is a national saving, and again the economy, okay, burden, unnecessary burden on the economy, which we can think upon. And the next this thing, challenge, technical challenge in my view, is experts in know-how of technology transfer. That means I'm not sure how many are in forefront of R&D in such area, and another people, those who are using on the ground this thing. So there is no amalgamation in my view, proper amalgamation or proper technology. Whatever research is there, that will remain in the institute level only, which very rarely happens to be implemented in our day-to-day life. Again, that may be one lacuna. And again, combined research in this area, that is joint collaboration. I think the people, those who are in the field, they are supposed to come to the institute or some expert from the academia and then do some sort of win-win situation research in this. I think other day Pramod was also telling, this is one way, lack of this thing what we are into, and that is the reason people are still in traditional this thing only. So lot of developments have happened. I think it is a high time for all of us to look into and then come out of this particular barrier. And the next subsequent challenge is going to be lack of labor. Okay, manpower expertise. What is this? So the people, those who are labor class, so if you just look into, they are neither very educated or they have the proper training. At least some ITI level training is also not there. What is that? Some school dropouts, they join as a helper, and then over a period of time, over experience, they gain that knowledge and then continue as a bar bender or some mestris. Okay, so that is what is the traditional practice in our this one Indian context. Probably that has to be changed. So the people are to be trained properly, and again you need to have a proper manpower, because the technology is there, but you should have the people who understood the technology and transfer it to the ground reality. That is one more challenge. And the next one is going to be risk taking attitude. I don't know how many of our engineering civil crew are ready to take up the risk and tell boldly, yes, it can be done. Other day I am again telling this in context to the discussion what we had on the IEI WhatsApp group. Okay, so some of them are still telling, no, we can't able to do this and that. So that sort of risk taking attitude, both in engineers and then contractors and then building owners also, this is very important. They should also come front to say yes, we are ready to this thing. But again, some win-win situation, that is also Lacona. And last one is quality of steel availability in the Indian market. Nobody knows. In fact, we have ISI stamping and ISO grade and all, but what is the guarantee? I think none of us ask the certificate. Only they will put a small tag, and it is only understanding of the trader who sells and then person who buys that. So it is only that some sort of understanding. So sometimes it may be the recycled steel or whatever it may be. Okay, that is also one biggest lacuna or shortfall in this particular scenario. So basically, we can't use the general steel for this. We have to go for a special high strength steel wherein the outer surface of the steel will be what you say, it will be hard, and then core will be softer only, so that whatever that bending load or tensile type of load, it will be taken by the core, and welding outside it will be toughened this thing only. So that steel we are supposed to use actually. So for further this thing, here I will stop here my discussion. I will just quickly tell the reference and then end up with this. So references, first one is Japan Reinforcing Bar Joint Institute. This manual is available if you Google search. And again, surprising to my, so this whatever I am telling, this people have done already, explored way back in 1963. Okay, that also Indian person, N.R. Nagaraj Rao. Of course, it is not in Indian context he has done. It is some foreign country he has done. And one more is B. Kusuma. Again, this is somewhere in Malaysia or Taiwan. Just search this. I got a paper. I could not able to remember exactly. I have quickly gone through what they have done. So they have done lot of activity in the saving of the steel and all that kind of stuff. So with this, I conclude my talk. Hope it was a little, probably people may be knowing, I don't know. So little know-how, and then a sort of debate issue in our regular group only. I thank IEI Local Center Dharwad. Special thanks to Dr. R.L. Chakrasali sir, who also happens to be chairman IEI, and Vijay Totger sir, who also happens to be actively involved in IEI local center by posting and then doing the information. Thanks to all office bearers of IEI. I once again thank giving me an opportunity to deliver a virtual talk on weldments in RCC structures. Thank you, one and all.